In the following exercise, okay, you're going to be given usually two lines. So the equation of these two lines here, the first one, 3x minus y plus 2, I could let's say represented by the black line, and let's say the other one that is x minus 2y minus plus 1, going to represent it by the orange line. Okay, unless they're parallel, they usually intersect each other. When they're parallel, how do you know they're parallel? They have the same number that comes in front of x and the same number that comes in front of y, or the minus 1 version of it, as in this one would also be the same slope. Okay, now we know right away that the two of these aren't the same slope. That's perfect. Okay, now what happens is two things happens. The first one is you get the there's two different angles going on. There's the acute angle and the obtuse angle. That's why it's plus or minus. Plus or minus gives us the two different angles. Okay? I'll explain that further in a minute. This symbol here, theta, is a measure of an angle. It's usually in degrees. It can be 30 degrees. Anywhere from 30 to maybe 180. If you're anywhere from 0 to 180 when you're talking about the obtuse angle. Anywhere from 0 to 90. Or sorry, 0. Bigger than 0 but smaller than 90 when you're talking about the acute angle. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to use our formula. Tan theta, and we're going to use the second version of it, okay? Equals m1 minus m2. Now I have to find out what m1 and m2 is. How do you find out what m1 and m2 is? Using a formula from geometry. The formula y equals mx plus c. Always get y on its own. The first one we move the y to the right. We get y equals 3x plus 2. What's the slope of the first line? 3. m1 equals 3. Next one, bring the 2y over the other side and we get 2y equals x plus 1. Divide across by 2. y equals a half x plus a half. What's the slope of this one? A half. Once you've got both slopes, you're then going to go up and input them into your formula. m1, which is 3. By the way, it doesn't make a difference which one you call m1 and m2. You'll get the same answer no matter what. Okay? So you're going to get 3 minus a half divided by 1 plus 3 multiplied by a half. Now, no point messing around with that too much. What we're just going to do right away is just going to go straight into the calculator with 3 minus a half, which is 3 minus 0.5. And then we're going to have 1 plus 3 times a half, which is 3 multiplied by 0.5. Close it. And the answer is 1. Okay? Now what this means is this. Tan theta equals the absolute value of 1. This means tan theta equals 1, or tan theta could be equal to minus 1. Now, you go to your calculator and you do this every time to finish it off. You have to find out what angle, when you put it into tan, causes it to be the number 1. To do the opposite of this, there's a function called tan inverse. Press the shift, press the tan inverse button, whatever number you get here, and please make sure it says D on top of your calculator. It means it's in degrees mode. 45 is the first answer. And can anybody tell me the second answer without me even looking for it? No. What's 45? That's 45. What's the other angle have to be if it's in the straight angle? 135, okay? Now, some calculators will give you 135, some calculators will give you minus 45. My advice is to always tan inverse minus 1. I think this comes up as minus 45. Okay, my advice is always get the acute angle, always get the positive value and take it away from 180. Yes. This type of question here, what they can do is to go a line L with slope M contains the point 0, 1. K is the line 2x minus y plus 3 equals 0. Theta is the acute angle between L and K. If sine theta equals 3 over 5, find 2 possible equations for L. Okay, let's start off with what we know. Once again, we're going to label one of these a black, to say the orange line. This one here is the orange line. The equation we don't have is going to be the black line. Okay? It doesn't matter if I got the slopes mixed up or not, it's just the general concept. Okay? In between them is the angle theta, which is this angle here. Okay? Now the problem is, I only know what sine theta is. Sine theta is 3 over 5. I need to know tan theta. Now here's how you figure this out. Sine theta, they always belong to right angled triangles. They're what's called ratio of a right angled triangle. You have to remember that if this is the angle theta, what is this side called? Here to here? Hypotenuse. What's this side called? Opposite. And this side is the adjacent. Fair enough. You remember off your rhyme, SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA. You're talking about sine. Sine theta equals opposite over hypotenuse. This means that this side here is technically 3. This side here is technically 5. And then to find out what the adjacent is, we have to do we have to go about doing the Pythagoras theorem. Okay? Pythagoras theorem being, we call this side x. 5 squared equals 3 squared plus x squared. X squared equals 25 minus 9, because that's what 5 squared minus 3 squared is. 16 equals x squared. X therefore equals 4. Now we know that this here is 4. So to really throw you off your rhythm, what they can do at the start of the question is they can give you cos theta and sine theta. They refuse to give you tan theta, and you will do this trick every time to find out what tan theta is. Now guys, tan theta is opposite over adjacent, which is 3 over 4. Now we know what tan theta is. Tick that off our list. That's one thing we have. Now, the next thing we don't have is, we don't know, excuse me guys, we don't know what M1 is, but we can find out M2. M2 means get Y on its own. Bring the Y over to your side, we get Y equals 2x plus 3. Y equals mx plus c. Can anybody tell me what M2 is? 2. And it tells us that M1 is, it has slope m. That's all we can use. M1 equals m. Let's use all these formulas, let's use all this information in our formula. 3 over 4 equals M1, which is M minus M2, M minus 2, divided by 1 plus M times 2. What's M times 2? 2M. Close. Square both sides. Excuse me, Dan. 9 over 16 equals M minus 2 squared divided by 1 plus 2M squared. Square them out. Okay? So we're going to get 9 equals M squared minus 4M plus 4 on the top. On the bottom it's going to be 1 plus 4M plus 4M squared on the bottom over 16. Cross multiply. You cross multiply, what we're going to get is 9 plus 36M plus 36M squared equals 16M squared minus 64M plus 64. Close. Bring everything over one side, and what we're going to get is 36M squared minus 16M squared is 20M squared. 64M goes to plus 64M. So 64M plus 36, 100M. And finally, 9 minus 64, 55, that's a good number. Minus 55 is a good number. Now, what I said, why it's a good number. You have options. Option A, do the minus b right away. Option B, divide across by 5. 4m squared plus 20m minus 11. Do your reference number. Reference number is 4 by 11 minus 44. Break up 44 into its
22 and 2.
There we go, thank you. 22 and 2. Okay, and it's going to be minus 2 plus 22. So what you get here is going to arrange it like this: 4m squared minus 2m plus 22m minus 11 equals 0. 2m brackets m minus 2 plus 11 bracket. Oh, sorry. What is it?
M minus 1.
Just give me a second. I made a mistake. That's why. 2m. See, it's great when you check the second bracket, because then you have to recheck the first one to make sure it works out. So it's going to be 2 into, sorry, 11 into 2m. Oh, and it's minus 1. Yep, you're right. Excuse me. Plus 11 into 2m minus 1. There we go. Okay. Finally, 2m plus 11 into 2m minus 1 equals 0. 2m minus 1 equals 0. 2m equals 1. M equals a half. And then finally, 2m plus 11 equals 0. 2m equals minus 11. M equals minus 11 over 2. Now, you think you'd, after doing such a long question, that you'd be on full marks by now, but you're not. Alright? The truth is, if you read back at the start, 2 possible equations, not 2 possible slopes. If it was 2 possible slopes, we're finished. If it's 2 possible equations, we're not finished. Let's take down the point that's in this equation. It's x1, it's 0, 1. Excuse me. It's 0, 1. So what I have to do here is I have to do 2 things, okay? The first one I have to do is y minus y1 equals m into x minus x1. I got to do 2 equations. This one's going to be red, this one's going to be blue. We start off with red. Y minus 1 equals minus 11 over 2 into x minus 0. Cross multiply. 2y minus 2 equals minus 11x. Bring the 11x over to your side. 11x plus 2y minus 2 equals 0. Go to blue. We get y minus 1 equals a half into x minus 0. Cross multiply. We're going to get 2y minus 2 equals x. You have an option. You can bring the x over this side and you'll get minus x plus 2y minus 2 equals 0. Other people would get this answer here. X minus 2y plus 2 equals 0. They're both the same equation. I just simply multiply both sides by minus 1. They're the same thing. Okay, Connor, you have a question? Tricks they can do to you in this chapter is the following. They can give you tan theta, which you use directly in your formula. The other thing they can do is they can give you the angle. If they give you the angle, what you do is you then go to your calculator and say tan 60, and you put in tan 60 and it'll tell you what number to use in your formula. Because remember, in the formula it specifically says use tan theta. Okay? Other tricks they can do to you is this. They can go, oh, cos theta equals 12 over 13. If you get something like this happening, and it happened in the last question, what your whole goal before you even begin your question is to find out what is tan theta. So what you always do when you're given a cos or sine, is you draw a right angle triangle. You mark any angle you want, usually the bottom angle as your theta. You never ever mark the right angle. The right angle is never theta. Okay? What you do then is you remember off your rhyme, SOHCAHTOA. If you have cos, you go to C and you realise, oh, the adjacent is 12 and the hypotenuse is 13. So you mark in 13 and 12. Your full goal is now to find out what the opposite is. Okay? The reason why you need to find out the opposite is because tan equals opposite over adjacent. You do Pythagoras' theorem. Pythagoras' theorem is the longest side squared equals the shorter side squared and added together. Then what you'll find out is x squared equals 169 minus 144, because that's what 12 squared is. Then you get x squared equals 25, x equals 5. Now you know that this side is 5. And now you know that tan theta is opposite divided by adjacent. Then you can find your tan theta to be 5 over 12. Then you're ready to start the question.
But can't you just find what theta is from that? Like